Hi, welcome back to my channel. As the title of this video states, this is um, a video about faith and the argument for faith. Um, there was years ago, I remember reading about Pascal's wager, and I'm going to look it up so I can state it correctly. It says here, Pascal's wager is a philosophical argument that people are essentially gambling whether to believe in God. The argument was developed by 17th century mathematician and philosopher Blaise Pascal. How the argument works. People can choose to believe in God or not. If God exists and a person believes, they gain infinite happiness. If God exists and a person does not believe, they risk infinite suffering. If God does not exist and a person believes, they lose nothing. If God exists and a person doesn't believe, they gain nothing. Significance. Pascal's wager is considered a practical argument for believing in God. It uses elements of game theory to show that belief in God and the Christian religion is rational. And so, in the end, why would you bet? Why not bet on something? Um, the best argument, you know, belief in having faith. Uh, the end result is the best case scenario. And I made this video kind of like as my experience from my videos on atheism. One of the respondents, responded with kind of like echoed my belief that arguments, those of us that are theists, um, we can't prove that God exists or not. It's all we have is an argument for faith. And when I was talking to atheists, and I did I think 4 videos on atheism. That I only expected to do one, but it became evident to me that especially discovering that there is a definition of atheism that is not the definition that I had grown up with. This definition about uh, atheism actually being the lack of belief. It's like some of these other definitions of words that have changed, and it's to me it's just manipulative. You changed it because you didn't like the challenges to the accepted argument, and so you came up with something that would give you an out. And some of them people even mentioned it in the responses, which I had found that they would consider a 8-year-old, a 5-year-old who has lack of belief, they would consider them an atheist. And this other person that I kind of like found commonality with argues that atheists they have to make a leap of faith as well. Yes, that's true. And I know they're going to come back and tell me that I didn't, I don't know enough atheists. There are atheists up and down this comment section. There are atheists on YouTube that I followed, and they gave me their definitions. I mentioned some of them by name, and they're different. Some atheists, in the comments, you could not agree on among yourselves. You couldn't agree on a definition. In the end, both of us make leaps of faith. One of them, I believe, we bait. He was an atheist, but I found him very rational. We argued the same thing, but in the end, we came up with a different place. And I know the route that he took, but he found something convincing that I did not, and I found something convincing that he did not. And in the end, we're living the lives that we have. I know that Jordan Peterson once made an argument about God, and he did not want to state outright um, if he was a theist or not. Um, and he made an argument that was essentially that if he really believed, he would live his life differently. If you really truly believe, Let's see if I can find. No, I don't have it here. But he said that if he really believed in God, especially the Christian God, that that would have such a profound effect on his life that he would have to live differently, because you believe, and there are things that follow that belief, consequences of that belief. And so um, he didn't admit to it. I think later on he did say it, and but he's very shy about it. I saw an interview or heard an interview yesterday about Elon Musk, and Elon Musk was asked by a woman who's the leader of the opposition party in Germany. It's a libertarian party, and they had a discussion between the two of them on um, politics in Germany. And then Elon Musk talked about um, his plans with his companies and eventually going to visit Mars. Fascinating. And he'd argued about, understanding physics and science. And I learned something new. It turns out that, I mean, I know about um, space travel and what some of that entails. Um, you know, escaping the gravitational force of Earth, and of course, going to the moon. Moon's orbiting the Earth, so it's always uh, nearby. But Mars is not. Mars is orbiting the sun, and apparently, every 2 years, there's about a 6 month window where travel to Mars is possible. And he says that that window is right now, but in the future, we'll have to wait 2 years because we're not ready now. So in 2 years, he'll be ready. He'll be able to send um, an unmanned ship to Mars, and at some point, they're going to have to take 1 million tons of stuff to build on Mars. Now, this is like the stage, and to send someone to Mars, he didn't mention this, but I know this that you would send a rocket ship kind of like ahead to get to Mars with the longest distance, and then as the ship would return with less fuel, um, it would return when the distance between the um, Earth and Mars is at its closest, or just before it's at its closest, so that so that the ship returning from Mars would intersect Earth as it's going on its orbit. It's fascinating. But the woman eventually asked Elon Musk if he believes in God, and Elon Musk um, kind of like gave a very non-committal answer. His He says he hasn't been proven that God doesn't exist, and the challenge, however, for him was more of, does God, if he exists, care in this creation? And the argument is, of course, it's the same one that Christopher Hitchens did, which was, why is there so much evil in the world? And I know the answer. The answer is free will. That's the answer. Um, and I don't know if Elon Musk um, has heard that. I mean, I would think that maybe he does, but he also doesn't seem to. It doesn't seem to be like a topic that interests him. He's very focused on something else, and so this is not something that he tends to think about. Oh, so then at the end, why do some of us think about this? You know, and I think that a lot of us think about this because belief in God ultimately gives our lives meaning. If I were to say that I have a car and the car's worth $1 million, well, it's not true because nobody will pay me $1 million for my car. I don't give it the value. The market gives it the value. Something outside of me says, yeah, it's worth so much. There might be someone somewhere in the world who thinks that my car is worth $1 million. I don't know, some nostalgia, or but they would pay it. But unless that's true, the market would be decided by the people that are buying cars, and they would determine the value. My life, what value does it have? What purpose does it have? And the purpose is tied to God. belief in God and what we believe God um, wants of us. And if you go through the logical steps, I believe is logical. Um, we look at clues through our lives. We look at clues through our faith, the teachings that we believe are accurate, and we determine it that way. And in doing so, those of us that have faith find peace. That is not finding peace is not um, one of the common things among atheists. So anyway, I'll leave it at that. Thank you for watching my video, and please subscribe, leave a comment down below, and give me a thumbs up. It helps with the algorithm, and I'll see you in the next video. I think at the corner, I think down over here, is a subscribe button. You can click on that, and I hope I get it right. And you'll be subscribed, and I appreciate it. Thank you.